the build up to this Farbrengen, we all heard on the day of the Farbrengen that he is coming. Now, the background is that he never came to a Farbrengen, and the Rebbe never went to one of his lectures. He was the main lecturer of Talmud at what's called today Yeshiva University in Washington Heights. At that time, it was called Yeshiva Reb Yitzchak Elchanan, REITS, R-E-I-T-S. Since when they started the college, they changed the name to Yeshiva University. He was a genius. He came from a long line of very respected rabbis and leaders and scholars. The Rebbe came from the Schneerson family, who were also geniuses, very respected, but Hasidim. He came from what was once the antagonistic group to Hasidim, although his family never signed on the proclamation ostracizing Hasidim. Okay? But nevertheless, he still was part of that camp. And he and the Rebbe became, as Rabbi Krieger said, good friends in Berlin, because there, how many Orthodox people did you have there at university? Few. Several. They hung out with each other. They became friends with each other.
In the late 20s?
28, 29, 30. And they attended some classes, some of the same classes. They went to certain rabbis to hear classes from them. Anyway, they became good friends. Once they came to America, Rabbi Soloveitchik settled in Boston and the Rebbe in Brooklyn. But he would come up every week, every single week since 1930s, to Manhattan, 2-3 days a week. And then he would spend the rest of the time in Boston and he would teach. He was probably the best teacher of the Talmud in the world. In the world. He was a master teacher. Clear thinking. Talmud is like law, if you had to write. And he was able to dissect the particular issue and come up with a solution, right? So his classes were sought after, not just by students at the university, Yeshiva University, but in the evenings, Tuesday nights, we give a class in a Manhattan shul. Place was packed. They came from all over Brooklyn. They came into Manhattan 7:30, 8 at night, whatever it was, to hear his class. On Tisha B'Av, which is the saddest day of the year during the summer, he would speak for 8 hours in Boston, and people would come from all over the tri-state area to sit at his feet and hear him expound on the Kinnos, on Lamentations. So you're talking about a genius of geniuses, top in the Jewish world, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was a genius, and a Hasidic Rebbe, and a tzaddik, a holy person. But they never really, once they came to America, saw each other much. Once, twice, 3 times when he came to comfort the Rebbe for the loss of his mother and things like that. So it was very few times. I never saw him come, and I attended the Rebbe's Farbrengens for many years, 25 years, since the early 70s. Since I was 10, 11, 12, I started to attend those Farbrengens. And we heard that he's coming. So this is the background, okay? To get him to come wasn't easy. Took a lot of maneuvering. Not that he had anything against, but he's in a different world. He's not Hasidic. But he heard it's the Rebbe's 80th birthday. I'm sorry, it was the Rebbe's 30th year since he became a Rebbe, a leader. He became in 1951, so this was going into his 30th year. So he wanted to honor his friend that he knew from Berlin. And I remember when he walked in, the place, there was 5,000 people in that room, I'm telling you. Everyone was on their feet, quiet. And he walked, there were a few people walking behind him. He walked in, and they gave him a chair. He already had beginnings of Parkinson's. And then the Rebbe walked in. Now, when the Rebbe came up to the stage where he sat, where he would sit, because everyone, this way people could see him, he was on a stage. He, before he went to his seat, he stopped, and he saw Rabbi Soloveitchik, and they gave each other such a smile and such a handshake. I'm telling you, I thought they're going to embrace and kiss each other. That's how the warmth was exuding, how palpable. You can feel it in that room. Two men of great lineage and great minds and great leaders and great accomplishments. They meet face to face. And what do they represent? This one represents the Hasidic movement, and this one represents the it's called Lithuanian movement. And they're embracing. Although not embracing, but they're face to face. Like I'm even closer to, look at it. Then the Rebbe goes and sits down. Oh, the Rebbe did not sit down. I saw this. The Rebbe did not sit down until Rebbe Soloveitchik sat down, even though the Rebbe was a year older. Rebbe was born 1902. Rebbe Soloveitchik was born 1903. He would not sit down until his friend sat down on a chair. When he sat down, the Rebbe sat down. The Rebbe spoke with an interval for a total of about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes that the rabbi stayed, Rebbe Soloveitchik, even though he had Parkinson's. He told his driver later, he made a joke. He said, if I would be a chassid, if I were a chassid, I would say the Rebbe made a miracle. So the driver said, what miracle did he make, Rebbe Soloveitchik? He said, I was sitting there, and with Parkinson's, my feet didn't shake. That's why I thought I would be there only for 20 minutes. I couldn't sit, And it didn't, my feet weren't shaking, so I stayed longer and longer. An hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes he stayed at that Farbrengen. When he left, his driver was Rabbi Schechter. He went to the car with Rabbi Schechter from the Bronx, who was, by the way, the chaplain in 1945, who came the first to, after the war ended, he came to Europe. Rabbi J.J. Schechter was his name. So he went along with the Rabbi Soloveitchik, was very close to him. So he called him Rebbe, teacher. So what do you say? He says, I knew him in Berlin. He knew the Rebbe in Berlin. But I didn't know that he has leadership qualities. I knew him as a genius. But he was very reserved, very quiet. Rabbi Soloveitchik was much more outgoing, talkative. Rebbe was very quiet. But what I saw tonight, he said, 5,000 of people in the room, and he's leading the show. He's conducting. He's orchestrating. That's leadership. That's leadership. And he said that's impressed him most. And I remember this event. It was a moment in history. It really was. I just wish that the whole Jewish world or would have seen this, would have been there, because, in philosophy and ideology, you can argue, you can go back and forth. But when you see something with your own eyes, right, and it's concrete, and it's in front of you, you can't. It's nothing to argue about. It happened. 9/11. I remember where I was 9/11. Do you?
No.
I remember. I was walking up the steps of a synagogue.
Because remember, most of them weren't born yet.
Oh,
I wasn't born.
I was 1 year old.
Okay. I'm sorry. I got carried away.
I wasn't born.
But I mean, I remember like now. I remember walking up the steps of the synagogue, just walking up, and someone's standing there, and he's looking. I said, "What happened?" He says, "Something happened. There's smoke." I remember it like yesterday. Just like John F. Kennedy got shot. The people who lived through that, they remember it like yesterday. This event with the Rebbe, and thank you for asking me to talk about this, about some event of the Farbrengen, was, I think, probably the most historic moment for anyone. I mean, in who knows and studied Chabad, what Chabad, the movement, is all about, the philosophy, the ideology, what it wants, and to see this unity in real life. And I wrote a book, a 400-page book about the Rebbe, and called Rabbi and Rebbe. I wrote a whole book on both of these two men. And my opening story is this story that I just told you. And most people who read it were, actually not Chabadniks, were YU people. I did 3 reprints of it, coming out now with a sequel to it, God willing, at the end in December. And the point is that you're right. There's certain moments that you'll never forget, and it's important to share. And hopefully you heard it now, and you'll share it with your future, with your families and your friends, parents, because these moments in Jewish history makes our nation. You have to understand that. I know younger people are not into history, Even most older people aren't. But anyway, I'm into history, and I see the big picture. I see 200 years from Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Hungary, Germany, coming all together today, September 25th, 2024, but through all of you. But you're not, I understand some of you from different countries. That's not the point. The point is, everyone's different. No two people are alike. Have you ever met two people that are alike?
Twins.
What?
Twins.
Nobody. And even twins, they're not like. I have, thank God, grandchildren who are twins, and they're so different, and they love each other. The twins, everything was twins. Two different people. So no two people are alike here. So take the experience of all of us. I think one of you said that in before. What makes these type of group gatherings special is this interactive discussion camaraderie. Very important. Very important. Even though today much has gone online, I teach every 4 days a week. I'm even teaching from here, the Rabbi knows. He's been kind to accommodate me. So we're online and we see each other, and I feel like I'm in a classroom like this, even right? And it's interactive. And we started 7 years ago. We're at 7 years now, 4 times a week, a half an hour, Monday through Thursday. We study together. And more than the learning that we're doing, and we're doing some serious learning of serious texts, it's the group that's been created, the friendship, the soul brothers and sisters, the togetherness. And this is very much part of Hasidic Judaism, to create what's called a brotherhood and a sisterhood. That's why Hasidic Judaism is so contagious. It lends itself to this friendship. The Rabbi used the word informality. This informality, like, what's the most normal thing about a Chabadnik? That he or she is not normal. Yeah, there's conservative, reform, and orthodox. The Rebbe once told me in a letter, all labels are no good. Even if, and this was a flyer that I was going to send out. Did I tell you the story? I came to Marin County, 1984. My wife and I, we were married just 4 months. I saw a flyer from a rabbi in Chicago, a friend, which had his picture on it, and it said in large words, "I am not Reform, I am not conservative, I am not Orthodox." And then a smaller word says, "I am Chabad, the philosophy of Chabad is a Jew, and that's it." I said, and I said, wow, this is we had 19,000 Jews officially on the Federation list, and I printed up 5,000 cards. I said, I'm going to send this out. This is the way I'm going to introduce myself to the Jewish community in Marin County. 5,000 cards. I send in, and I made this flyer with my picture. I took the same words. right? But I have a boss, Lubavitcher Rebbe, so I want to get his approval. So I sent it in, not even asking so much, but just letting him know this is what I'm doing. Before I sent out those 5,000 cards. Within a few hours, the secretary called me, says, the Rebbe has made comment on your flyer. And basically told me, the message itself contradicts, excuse me, the words themselves contradict the message. By saying you are not Reform, you are not conservative, you are not Orthodox, that means you're giving credence to the labels. And he said a Jew is a Jew. The fact that someone belongs to a conservative shul or a Reformed temple or an Orthodox synagogue, okay, that's where they pray. That's not who they are. You're not conservative. You're not Orthodox. You're not Hasidic. I'm not Hasidic. I'm a Jew who happens to like and to follow the Hasidic way. But I'm a Jew. So the Rebbe said by saying I'm not this, I'm not that, means you're saying there is A, B, and C, and you're not that. But it's not true. There isn't A, B, C. I took the 5,000, I threw it in my dumpster. They never went out. I remember it like now. We are all together. We're all in this together. All of us. When some of you shared your anxiety and your stress and your depression, I feel it. I really do. It hurts me. I cannot, even if I don't have clinical, depression, I still empathize, not just sympathize, empathize with you about this issue. And the answer is togetherness. Togetherness we will overcome. But we got to be together. You can't just, come once in a while. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean... I'm saying you have to be together, whether it's a phone call, an email, a WhatsApp, a text. Think about the other person. You're going out. You heard tonight from some people how they feel. Pick up the phone. Send them a hey. You want to come for a drink? You want to come to a party? You want to come for a walk? The biking. She said, oh, maybe I'll go biking with you. Don't let it just be now. You heard that. Next week, a week do now. You're going biking. Give her a call. Send her a message. Hey, you want to come along for the ride? Reach out. First of all, you'll feel like $1 million. If it happens, you've done something for someone else. You know when we feel depressed? Many times.
When we're by yourself.
Exactly. And when you think only about yourself. And you just self. Sure. I heard this from a big rabbi. He was spoken at Farbi in Jerusalem. I was there. And someone was successful, and he has students, and he's a person in his late 70s. And he said to a whole group of people, he said, when I get up in the morning, if I think about my family, I get very depressed. My grandson has this issue, my granddaughter has this issue, and they don't, what I'm saying? Problems. But when I think about others, I become happy. What can I do for others? You get up in the morning, what can you do for others? Sometimes what you can do for others is by calling them. I just want to talk. Do you got 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Anyway, I want to say l'chaim and conclude this Farbrengen. It's been wonderful being here, and God should give us the ability to come again and enjoy. And hopefully all of you will come one day with the Rabbi and the Rebbe to New York, and we'll join you at some point. And and have a good, blessed New Year. Shana Tova. Shana Tova. Good year should be written and inscribed in the book of life, in the book of health, in the book of happiness, and all the hardships, difficulties, and anxieties, and depression, and loneliness, and sadness should dissipate and disappear. Like you said, to pray, God can make it happen now. He doesn't have to wait till tomorrow, right? And flood everyone with lots of money to be able to do only good things. And each and every one of you at the right time find your mate, your spouse, and make a family. Got to continue the Jewish family, very, very important, And for some reason, if you can't, whatever the case, help someone else make a Jewish family. And God, I'm serious. I'm very serious. Sometimes It's not for us, for whatever reason. I want to go into it right now. It's a different discussion, not for now. The point is, make a Jewish family. Help a Jewish family. Okay? Okay? Okay. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim to life. Fiddler on the roof. L'chaim, l'chaim to life. L'chaim, l'chaim to life. L'chaim. The show is now over.